What's going on, everyone? We're continuing on the Halo 5 water-cooled build. I have been spending a lot of time getting this cleaned up. This thing has smoked many packs in its day. It was apparently that way when the owner got this one, already pretty dusty and smoky. So did the best I could to get a lot of the smoke smell out of there. You can see all these little parts here. Got them nice and cleaned up. And the things that did clean up, I mean, look pretty much brand new. They look fantastic. So, all these little parts here. And I still need to go back and do a little bit more tight cleaning in some of the spots, but we did get a lot of it out of there. And there's still a little bit of that stubborn thermal paste around the outside to get off. However, you can see a lot of the grime over here. Now, we at least got to a point now where we can sort of place the stuff back in, like the disk drive, just like that. And we can set our hard drive over here as well, set at least the hard drive tray in place. That way we're getting an idea of the space we have to work with here. And we also got our water block in right here, same one we've got in R2-D2. We also have it on the GPU of Vader, slightly different one on the CPU. And I've also used this on the budget water-cooled 1S and a couple other things. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this opened up. Got this here, and we'll just leave this plastic on here till the very end. And for the most part, I had originally pictured it facing this way, but that could change. We have so much room. The only way it probably wouldn't really work is this way, once we have ports on here with this stuff in the way. But technically there's enough space all the way around. We could face it any other direction. So that'll just kind of have to depend on where we want to place our pump. Now that is another thing I still don't have, is our pump top. However, I may use the DC-12 Phobia one and see if we can get that one to fit somewhere. There should be plenty of room in the corner. And even though this isn't very tall, the shell itself, you know, sticks up good ways there, because obviously the fan would stick up a little bit. But yeah, the water block is much shorter. Now, I also want to get one other thing done here that's going to help a lot with mapping this stuff out. We need to get this vent removed, so we can get our mod plate installed, which is this piece over here. And as you can see, it has like these little mounting points here. And when I first did this one, or the Forza one, I thought that this maybe just kind of popped out and then you'd be able to kind of fit those in there. No, you have to, first of all those little black tabs you see there that look like little Tic Tacs, those are all plastic welds. You got to cut all those off to get the vent off, and then you have to cut more of this section out here. Let me set this down, kind of like this section here, and then you also just need to kind of drill your own holes or make them bigger in certain spots so that those mounting points can stick through. And then I just kind of found random screws that made it work. But first things first, let's get this vent cut off. And I'm also going to take all of our hardware here and give them a little bath to soak in. And once we have things kind of mapped out, I can go back and do kind of the finishing cleaning on some of the stuff, even though, like I said, like this is clean, just some more little spots on the motherboard mainly. So real quick, I actually didn't even notice this until after the last clip. This one has ports on the top. Everything else about this has been exactly the same as all the other ones I've gotten, other than having ports on the top. And that is awesome. That is kind of the main reason I had to get a different one for the CPU on Vader, because the ports on the side weren't going to work. So I definitely need to save this listing. And this was from Amazon. I did get the other ones from Amazon as well, but there's several listings that have the same style block. And that is just really cool, actually. Now, we're not going to use that at all for this one, but that's great to know for other builds. Alright, got that grill cut off. Now we do need to, like I said, drill out where these mounting points go. They sort of line up with the holes in the back. They just need to be drilled out a little bit bigger. You need to drill out right kind of by where that slot is, and this one here, and some holes on this side as well. And then furthermore, this circle underneath doesn't necessarily fully, like if we're mounting something on the bottom of this, it's going to hit this circle here. So this needs to be cut out a little bit. And then same with the top here. I want to get all of this out of the way. That's going to be behind the openings here. And yes, this is quite dirty. This was powder coated a long time ago. I'm going to clean it up, and honestly, I'm probably going to repaint it as well. I don't have powder coat anymore, but you know what I mean. I'm going to repaint it. So let's finish cutting that. But for now, we can at least set this on top here and start to get an idea of what else is going to be cut out, because obviously our radiator's sitting here, water block here. I planned to put that reservoir right about back here, so that's going to stick out. We'll have to cut out here. And while doing this, the tricky part is thinking about how this assembles together. Obviously, if I connect the radiator to the top of this, if it's connecting to something on the inside, I'm going to have to connect a tube while putting this on top. So that's partly why I liked having this sticking out the top and leaving our radiator on the top as well, even though honestly, that one might, but I'm sure there's a slim enough one that could probably fit on the inside and then have the fan on the outside. But that would be much more difficult, because then there's definitely connections having to be made while this is going on top, and this is all going to be inaccessible. So having the radiator up here, and it has those ports on the side, so we can have a very clean tube going straight from here to that one port sticking out on the reservoir, this top one. So just kind of snake along the top of this right into here, and this will obviously be our fill station port there. So that's taken care of. That's something we can connect afterwards, because obviously the reservoir will be already attached, radiator on top. Set this over here, and then we can connect that tube. But on the other side of the radiator, we're going to have to either go in through the side, the back, maybe we can go straight in through the top. I did think about the idea. Obviously the hard drive's underneath this, so if we wanted to go like straight through here or something, it's probably not going to work out. We'll have to see where the lettering lines up. It could be in this space in front of the hard drive. In that case, it could be fun to finish cutting out the O in Xbox One and have the tube going straight into there. But again, in that case, we would have to have excess tubing sticking up. Try to put the top piece down while we fish that tube through here, secure everything down, connect the radiator to the reservoir, and then cut that tube to length, get it to fit to the radiator. Now in that scenario, it would the difficult part would then be disassembling, but all you'd really have to do is cut that one tube, and I mean it's cheap. Tubing's the cheapest part of water cooling, unless you're going hard tubing, which is extremely opposite. But yeah, if that's really all you had to do was disconnect one thing here, and even just disconnect this tube, we could probably put an elbow on here with barbs, so that can just be unplugged without cutting anything. And then you just remove the top, and of course unplug our one cable for our fan that's going to be attached to the top piece. Alright, we're getting close to wrapping it up for today, but I know not too much has been done, but as we've learned, figuring out exactly what we're doing with the loop and just everything else, where we're cutting, lighting, all that kind of stuff, is half the battle on these. And after messing around with some stuff, I think I've got it figured out. So for starters, I've been wanting to put this Primo Chill Vortex flow meter in a build, and finally this one is a smoke clear outside. It's got a white propeller on the inside. I thought there was a crack there for a second. That's just the shadow. Now I did have a UV blue propeller, however I realized why I haven't been able to get this to work in the past. It looks like that bearing in the middle is slightly off center, and it actually looks like this entire meter or propeller was cut on like a slight angle. And once you have it screwed into place, it just won't spin at all. But I think the white's going to be fine. You can actually see it a lot better when it's spinning. And when we have a UV LED in there with the blue, UV blue fluid passing through it, it should look really cool behind here. Now obviously, that's where the hard drive is. And I've got this mocked up here. It obviously still needs to go down about this much. But I'm just testing clearances. And even if it goes down that much, there's plenty of room. Definitely more than a finger width between the meter and the top of the shell there, which is nice. I want that to be as close to this as possible. If we could get it all the way up and not even have to worry about putting a window here, but we'll probably still do that. And then our radiator, of course, be right here, and I've actually decided to have it in this orientation so that the port is closer to the top on this side and the bottom on this side. Obviously, if we flipped it like that, it'd be the opposite. I'm not as worried about this side. Our reservoir is here. This just needs to go back into the reservoir here. Whether it does a little snake or goes on an angle, that doesn't matter. Whether it's from here or here, not much of a difference. But here, if we had it here, it would then be a 90, and it is going to stick out the side. That's just the way it is. I can't move this over. It'll then go here and then have to 90 and then go down. And I have pretty much committed to cutting out the center of the O and having that tube go straight down here. But right here we can do a 90, 90, and we're going to use, oh, here we go. Whether it's these ones exactly or not. Basically 90 it here and 90 it right there. And those all lined up next to each other is pretty much the perfect length, whether we go with the 3/8 or the smaller size, which I kind of plan on the smaller. It's like 5/16, I believe, 7/16, 9mm. That's all I know. So when it comes to putting it together, basically the 90 on here will already be attached to that tube. So I'll just have to kind of feed that little elbow through this hole as we set this top piece on. That should really be the only thing besides plugging in, obviously, the fan, which we would do first. Then set this on. Make sure this is fed through here. Make sure our temperature display, which we've got here, and it's like a light blue, just like this, which is nice. So cut out here for that. Basically feed the temperature display through that hole. Just let it hang over to the side. Make sure this one tube is through that hole. And then that's it. Clip it down. What's nice is, I mean, the faceplate's the biggest pain when it comes to taking it apart or putting it together, mostly because of that very short ribbon cable here. But luckily when you put it together, if I remember right, you can clip the whole top piece on and then throw the faceplate on last. You just kind of set it into here, push it forward, which is so awesome. If I had to do it the other way, set the top piece on like this, it would make everything a lot more difficult. Now, as I was talking about earlier with the clearance, there is so much room above this disk drive. We're literally just going to relocate our hard drive. We'll probably leave this on here, maybe cut those feet down a little bit. And it's literally just going to sit right on top of the disk drive. And I can basically just have it like this. We may need to get a slightly longer SATA cable, or even extend these wires a little bit, which is totally fine. I'm probably even still have the one I already custom extended when I put my Xbox One S in that thing. So we can just swap that out, make sure it still reaches the cables in the back. So we have this whole nice tray here. We can get this mounted too. It's got two mounting screws here on the bottom, so we can just get like a little L bracket to attach to the plastic piece and just screw this in so that's solidly in place. Got plenty of room next to it here, or even next to the hard drive, where we will relocate our Wi-Fi. I haven't cleaned that one. I don't know how that didn't get in the mix, but yeah, same connection as a DVD drive cable. So again, we could custom lengthen one if we need to, and just have this moved probably somewhere over here. As we know, reservoir here, won't be using that Y fitting, but just a demonstration as to where the plug for the temperature display could be connected to. However, I think I might actually put it coming off of the block or on one of the extra ports on the flow meter. Unfortunately, the only thing I'm still waiting on is the top for this pump. which is kind of a big deal on where I'm going to fit it here or here. Although I still might use the Phobia DC-12. Again, it's taller, gets the light on its side. It's definitely going to be a lot quieter than that one. But regardless, I'm pretty confident it would fit in this corner. Really, whichever pump we use, it's either going to be here or in this corner. And that's going to be below here. And the only thing we got to make sure is it clears the fan, which is, we've got this thin fan, but it will be mounted underneath. So we're going to lose a little bit of that clearance just in this section. So that's the only thing I still need to double check. However, basically reservoir, feeding, let's assume our pump's right here. And then that pump, still not sure if we want the block facing this way or this way, whichever is going to work out easier for us. There is plenty of room on both sides. So pump, I still kind of plan on squeezing one of these right here. Pump can pump it through that, flow through, block, and when it comes out of the block, flow meter. Coming out of the flow meter is where it's then going to loop, come out of this hole, go into the radiator, back into reservoir. There we go. I also plan to cut a nice sized window out above the disk drive, and I think I still want to do that even though we're going to have other stuff there in its place. Obviously we will either make a cover for it. I guess we could even mount this upside down and just have this part painted, get some decals, Halo 5, whatever, underneath that window. And then I just need to make a square cut here that's going to fit around our reservoir. And finally, that one spot roughly here for our temperature display, which is about right here. So, reservoir, temperature display. So, got a lot of stuff to cut out and get ready. And then in terms of paint, let's get our faceplate here. I already know what colors I want to use. This one especially reminds me exactly of Diamond Dust. This is a hobby paint I've used a long time ago. And then this actually is like graphite dust. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Because it's not quite black. It's more of a dark gray. And I think what we would do is basically paint this the lighter silver to match, and then the other side the darker. Alright, that being said, I've got some stuff to cut out, get this prepped for paint. I gotta actually pick up the paints. It's actually out of town, the closest Hobby Lobby I like to get the paints from. I've got a couple brackets to make here. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to see if we can make kind of an L bracket that can attach here, go across, or from this side and go across, that this can actually sit on instead of just attaching it to the back side, especially since it's going to be up pretty high, about right there, so that bottom port's in the inside, top port is on the outside, and a couple wiring situations. So stock fan plug-in is where we'll do the pump and the main fan here. And then we've also got a couple UV LED strips. These are fantastic, like 12 bucks on Amazon, 2 of them, very bright UV. They're also magnetic, so you can literally just stick them to the inside. Obviously you want to be careful you don't lay it on the motherboard or something, but we'll at least have either one here, if we do a second one somewhere around here, just to make sure this gets lots of light to get that fluid glowing. Finally, our speaker should be very easy. Plugs in up front. We'll probably just stick it somewhere here opposite of the pump. And our temperature display will go into the hard drive since it has a 5 volts, and I think the custom cable I already have for that has a plug-in for 5 volts, so that's perfect. And the UV LED strips are also 12 volts. That will probably tap into the DVD drive, so we have stuff kind of spread out a little bit, not have everything plugged in to here, although LEDs barely use anything, so it wouldn't really matter. Thank you guys for watching. Please stop commenting, liking, or subscribing.